My name is Damion and I've been sober since October 13th of 2020. I just got 5 months. I was born in a house in Midway City, not too far from here in Huntington Beach. Both my parents were addicts at the time that I was born. They had split custody, so from an early age, everything became about me, whether my parents were like emotionally unavailable, fighting in between each other. I always made it about me, thinking that there was something wrong with me. Why didn't my dad want me half his week? Why am I spending all my time at mom's? We moved to Huntington Beach about the time I was 11, 12 years old, and just because of behavioral problems in school, me acting out, getting in fights, suspended. I started drinking, smoking weed about the time I was 12, 13 years old, and that just led to the next 10, 11 years of complete misery and addiction. First drug I ever tried was alcohol, and that moved on to weed. From there it was ecstasy, cocaine, methamphetamine, and ultimately heroin. When I did meth, I was always a very insecure kid. I was a real chubby kid, and it helped me lose weight and get that confidence back. And then just like the heroin, anyone that's done heroin just knows it completely numbs everything in my childhood, every single insecurity that I had, everything that helped me, that I stayed up late at night from, heroin just numbed that out, and I didn't have to think about that. I was off Beach and Chapman in Stanton, and I was trying to do a goofball in my neck in some bushes, and once I got it, I came out and there was 6 Stanton sheriffs all surrounding this bush from a high-speed chase that they had went on, and right when they had arrested the guy, I dropped because I did a little bit too much heroin or had some fentanyl in it. I got my first felony heroin charge at the age of 16. I got placed on juvenile drug court, and I went to an inpatient adolescent treatment facility called Touchstones in Orange. It shut down during COVID, unfortunately, but it had been open for about 20 years. Patty O, who, rest in peace, is now deceased now. She was the program director there. She was the one who brought the spark of AA into my life. Panels and stuff would come in. These dudes getting out of prison, and I was 16 and thought I knew it all. I was like, thanks for the information, dude, but I'm never going to get as bad as you. And, I got off probation. I turned 18. I moved in with a friend, and I started using a bunch of heroin, and that eventually led me to selling heroin, which eventually led me to jail time as an adult. I was in a psychosis one time walking down Harbor Boulevard in Costa Mesa, and I got pulled over, and I ended up getting a felony weapons charge for something that I had on me. And that was one of the last times I went to jail. I always thought when I was a child, probation kept me sober. Why wouldn't it keep me sober as an adult? But, nothing outside of yourself is going to keep you sober. God's the one that keeps me sober today. I went to a treatment center about the age I was 20, 21. I met a body broker there, and I eventually became a victim of that cycle, going in and out of 47, 48 different treatment centers in the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. I just got tired of it. All my friends were growing up, getting houses, having families, and I'm sitting in a bush in Costa Mesa trying to find a vein, and I wasn't having it anymore. I couldn't imagine a life with heroin anymore, and I couldn't imagine a life without it. And I knew where I needed to go. My dad had gotten sober through AA, a bunch of his friends too, just people in and out of prison, and I gave it a shot, and I went to a treatment facility. It's actually the treatment facility that I work for now. And, I got 8 months sober there. I went there with no ulterior motives except for a sincere desire to get clean and sober and get my life together. And 25 was the first age that I ever got a job, and that was a job working in treatment. So I was doing graveyards at a treatment facility in Newport Beach. This was right when coronavirus happened. So everything shut down, and I ended up getting in a toxic relationship, definitely more toxic on my part because I hadn't worked on myself fully. And, you know, I ended up relapsing after about 7-8 months sober. That was in September of last year. And I got high for about 2-3 weeks, and like, you know, I was just like, what am I doing, dude? Like, I'm acting like a child. I'm acting the same way now than I was when I was like 16 years old. You know, I've seen better, I've done better. You know, I finally got a job and was like, you know, my mom wasn't paying my phone bill anymore. I was paying her rent to stay in her house. And, you know, so that was the shortest relapse that I've ever had. I usually go out for months at a time, and I went right back to the company that I work for now. You know, I just got right back into action and connected up with my sponsorship families. Like today, I'm real active in my sobriety. I do a lot of panels for different treatment centers. I try to sponsor other men if they would ever call me. I mean, the 12 steps work for a lot of people. You know, for me personally, I've gone through a lot of trauma in my addiction in my childhood. So I think along with the 12 steps, like finding a good therapist that like you relate with, and someone who like doesn't baby you, you know, that's like one thing I always tell people is if you baby the addict, you bury the addict. You know, I needed someone to like tell me how it was and like, you know, why these things are presenting themselves in my life without my permission, that being, you know, my childhood trauma and like the behaviors that present today in my life because of it. So finding a good therapist, definitely. I'm a smart recovery certified facilitator, so that deals with a lot of like cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, and just like learning why your brain does the things that it does, and you know how to like stop your thinking when you're thinking impulsively. And then like just the 12 steps, like that was just like a big personal house cleaning for me, you know, like going through all the people that I've hurt, you know, making amends, whether they be financial or living amends, you know, because there's some people that I hurt out there that don't want anything to do with me, and the way like I can say sorry or, you know, make up for it is just by not continuing those things in my life. Some advice for someone getting right out of detox is, you know, it might sound cliche, but it's like give yourself a break and like be honest with yourselves. I was out there for so long thinking, yeah, I want to shoot dope the rest of my life, but that's not what I wanted, you know, like deep down inside, I wanted a family, like I wanted a job, I wanted to pay bills, I wanted a credit score, like, so just be honest with yourself, find a good therapist, and, you know, give the steps like an honest try.